Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Winning Mondays with KW Malaysia. My name is Mariah, and I am the Regional Training Coordinator here. And I'm so happy to welcome you all to our show today, to our time today. We have a really great topic. Hello, Charles. Hello, Puchong. Hello, Puchong. Hello, everyone on Facebook, on Zoom. A big hello to everyone and good morning. Glad to see you guys. Yeah, so today, right, we're talking about a very exciting topic, a very touchy topic about a bit of the darker side of the business, right? When sometimes things go wrong and we cannot get paid or something terrible like that, right? This is like probably your nightmares are like this, right? So, I was thinking about this business, right? This business that you guys are all in, right? That we are all in together. There's so many things we need to learn, right? We need to lead generate, follow up on our leads, get those appointments. We need to have the skill to take people for viewings and market properties and make posters. We have so many things. But then, and also negotiating and making offers and all that. And then there's another totally different side, right? It's like the super brainiac, lawyer type of brain you need, right? We need to know the law. We need to know the rules and the fine print and all that to make sure that we protect ourselves, right? So maybe some of those things, not everyone is fully aware of how all the rules, all the laws out there. So that's why we put together this session to help you guys, to educate everyone, everyone who wants to learn, who wants to protect themselves. This is why we have this session today with two very special guests, so that in case that time ever comes, or hopefully that time doesn't come for you, but that you can avoid that situation where you close the sale, you work so hard, you get the lead, you get the appointment, you convince them to list with you, you get the buyer, you do all of that. And then, suddenly you don't get paid and you're like, yeah, all that for what? So we want you to avoid that kind of situation, right? So that's why we're here today. So we don't want you to have that. So I'm glad a lot of people are here online. So as we get started with our topic, I have a poll for you guys as usual. All right, let me get my poll out. Okay. All right, so here's the poll today. Two very easy questions, only yes, no answers, very easy. Okay, have you, the people on this call, so this is also for Facebook and Zoom, have you ever not been paid your commission fees as you expected? So you were expecting a certain number of commission fees and maybe even one time something went wrong and you were not paid exactly. So is it a yes or no? Have you ever not been paid your commission fees? So yes, meaning you have had that experience, you did not get, there was a time that you didn't get as expected. No means no, every time has been exactly as you expected. Okay, number two, have you personally read through the MIEA document, the Malaysian Estate Agency Standards document in detail? Have you personally read through? It's not even that long, but just an FYI, because I looked through it. Have you personally gone through just to read what are the standards, what are the rules and everything? Yes or no? Just yes or no. Have you actually personally read it or not? Yeah. So it means not that somebody else told you what it says, but you personally went to read. Yeah. So first question, have you ever had that experience where you were expecting a certain commission and you didn't get it? Yes or no? And then secondly, have you personally read through the Malaysian Estate Agency Standards document? Yes or no? Okay. Wow, this is probably the highest participation we ever had. We're already like 70%. Well done, guys. Well done, well done. So we're going to see what kind of experience you've all had on the call. I'm sure you're all very curious to see the first question, especially, right? Okay, I'll give you another 5-10 seconds to fill out. Then we can see, what the experience is like out there. Okay. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. Okay, let's see the results. Here we go. All right. So for the first question, have you ever not been paid your commission fees as expected? Yes, 33% have had this experience. Wow. There are 33% of you said that something went wrong at some point. Okay, and 67% no, said no. That's cool. That's encouraging. That means most people are having a good experience, no issues with getting paid. That's positive. Yeah. And then in terms of who has read the document, okay, not bad, guys. 37% of you said you actually read the document yourself. I'm very impressed. But 63% have not read it. So probably some people need to do a little bit of reading. It will be useful for you, I think. So you're going to get a chance to learn something here today, and hopefully you'll be inspired to learn even more. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing first, and we're going to invite our guests on. All right. So I would like to invite Miss Chan Cheng and Mr. Jonathan Lee. Please come on. Let's welcome them, everybody. Give them a round of
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Let's get them spotlighted. All right. All right. Great. I'm glad you guys. Good morning to you both. All right. So I would like to start, Mr. Jonathan Lee. Can you just give everyone a quick intro to who you are and what your background in real estate is?
Who am I? It's an interesting question to ask me in this season. But so I'm the CEO of KW Malaysia. I'm 19 years in the industry. And recently elected. I use the word elected, macam very great at that, but elected in as the board of directors for the Malaysian Institute of Estate Agents. That's me. Right.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Miss Chan Cheng, tell us, who are you?
Okay, I've been in real estate since 1999. I think that I also lost count on how many years it was. I have never left the real estate industry the moment I joined it. But before that, I was actually with a developer. So developer, still property related, agent until today. And of late, I've also served in the association, the Malaysian MIEA, Malaysian Institute of Estate Agents, and now serving as the immediate past president. So immediate past president is supposed to be the easiest role, which is just advice only, talk only. So finally can take a break from all the contribution.
And I love good. So that's why I brought you here today, so you can talk and give advice. I love it. Thank you. Okay, so what did you think of the poll? Were you surprised that there's actually some people have actually read the document? Are you surprised?
Actually, it's good because you see, a lot of us we feel that sometimes all these rules all this reading all very boring and all that. But you see, our business is comprises of two parts One is the money making. One is protecting that money. Nice. Which is the compliance part. Sometimes we're so we're so involved or so engrossed into making the money, right, that we forgot to take care of the process to ensure that we get the money. If not all that hard work for what? I mean, we're not in a charity business. We are making a decent living, and we must ensure that whatever business we do yields us the return that we want. So compliance is actually quite an important aspect when you want to ensure that you get what you are due, what you deserve, you get what you deserve. I think that's the important part.
Right. Yeah, so that's good. So I know you have a lot of things to share with us, right? You were going to share with us about the standards on estate agency fees. Is that correct?
Okay, yes, standard number 4. So I'm going to bore you a little bit. So do you want me to share it now?
I can, or do you want to any story to get us excited, of what kind of things can, any stories about things that have gone wrong? Maybe one story first, so that we can have that in our minds as we go and listen to our document.
Wow.
as you
Kisah benar. I saw Charles read kisah benar. I have personally done a deal where we weren't paid. Well, after some visits to the person's office, they finally gave us a so-called token. Wow, I tell you, that was so offensive because the deal was worth so much, and they gave a token like an ang pao for Chinese New Year. Wow, somehow the letter was best. We put our request for the fees already, right? And then they say, they come up with all kinds of excuses. So anyway, this is a token for you to celebrate Chinese New Year. Can you imagine?
Oh no.
Now I was thinking to myself, I might as well just focus on selling a bungalow house and get my fees than to work so hard on such a big transaction and not get paid. So yes, I have personally experienced transacting I think it was I still can't remember how big that tract of land in Klang was already. I won't even mention the name of the development because I'm so upset. But because of tons of events and twists and turns that can turn out in a deal, in a way, I was, you can say edge out of the transaction, but yet not a clear yes, no. So it was a bit dicey. So, but anyway, of course, the vendor realized that he's supposed to pay, but somehow or other, this guy being the man that he is, he decided not to lah. And even with pursuit, all he gave us was a token. So I don't want any of you to go through that kind of experience. So I paid a lot of expensive tuition fee over the last how many years? Yes, definitely. And he's still he's still around. I won't mention names, but he's still around. And surprisingly, right, even after that bad experience, right, I still continue doing business with them, but not with him, with his children. Yeah, and fortunately, they were honorable and they kept their end of the deal. So I think one bad experience doesn't turn all into bad experiences. One bad paymaster doesn't mean everybody is like that. But sometimes as agents, we get very paranoid and we become very suspicious of everyone. Then actually that holds us back from doing potential deals. Had I stopped there, I couldn't have made the next batch of money from the negotiations and the deals that I did with his children. So in a way
that's a good encouragement to everyone. So even something goes wrong, don't give up. Like take it as a tuition experiment.
Very expensive.
So now we can all learn from your your bad experience. But yeah, we appreciate that. You will come here to share with us. Gosh. Yeah. So yeah, maybe you can maybe I don't know, I can ask you during you've been on the board, right? So since you were on the board, yeah, you have received complaints regarding fees before?
Usually the complaints that we receive I also forgot to mention that I serve as board member of the Board of Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agent and Property Managers Malaysia for 2 years, from 2019 to 2021. So while I was there, I served in 3 committees. One is the Complaints Management Committee. Then I serve in the Complaints Investigation Committee and also Disciplinary Board, or EAPC and all that. So we have a process how we handle complaints that we receive from public and also from estate agents. That means estate agent complaining about another estate agent, or the public complaining about the estate agent and things like that. All kind of funny things happen. Of course, some complaints I must say are frivolous. So normally when those kind of cases come to my hand, I throw it out. But of course, if there was some prima facie situation where we felt that, or maybe there is a case, then we will from CMC, from the Complaints Management Committee, we'll pass it to the CIC. Most of the time it's about the refund of earnest deposit. Almost always the complaint from buyers and sellers, landlords and tenants are always that the agent is not refunding me, or he took so long to refund me, or he's supposed to, and there's a host of that kind of scenarios. Yes, most of the time.
Right. So you've heard
the agent charged me too much fees. Yes, we got that as well. The agent charged me too much fees. He's not supposed to charge me beyond the maximum scale. He charged me more. That kind of thing. Yes, those are quite common.
Wow. How about you, John? I know you also have a lot of experience. Like, how relevant do you think this topic is?
I think it's very relevant. I think if you look at the poll earlier, a majority of practitioners out there don't understand the standards. Number one, don't read the standards. And sometimes when you read, you may not understand fully, right? Because it's very wordy and it's very, you need to have some understanding of contracts, right? The law of contracts a little bit to that perspective. And in real life, yes, once you know all these things, you will still meet bad apples. Just like what Cheng said, I met one bad apple before, the same similar situation, but I didn't get ang pao. I got what we call ex gratia payment in cash. Right, I'm supposed to get 200,000 ringgit. He gave me an ex gratia payment of 60,000 ringgit in cash, and he has the guts to talk to me and tell me, why are you still here? So you will get into those kind of. So there is the people part of it, right? So there's so much the regulatory and the system can help you, but there are the people there that will actually, for whatever reason, will still do the same thing to you. And then I think you need to know what your options are when you meet that situation. I think this conversation is important because a lot of times we don't know what our options are. And just like what I actually say is true, one of the key factor is a lot of owners or tenants or buyers or sellers, right? They always want their refund of deposit fast. But they don't understand we cannot do it out of just because of your request, right? There are many processes and many things for us to consider. That's why we're going to talk about it today. So I think a lot of us don't understand our options. Therefore, we don't know how to respond in a correct manner or in a professional manner to help not escalate the situation, but de-escalate the situation.
Right. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so without further ado, maybe Cheng, you can take it away and share with us what you would like to share.
Okay, let's scare everyone with so many words, right? Okay. Don't panic. I don't want to panic and say that, whoa, suddenly there's so many, words on the screen. Okay, so I want to just really go quickly in the next 15 minutes, right? On the standards that relate to fees, because that's to me, that's a very important standard. Of course, all the standards are important, but this one especially stands out because it's when our fees when we are due our fees and things like that. Okay, so very important. I know a lot of us may not be aware, but these, in a nutshell, this slide is what regulates our profession. Act 242, which is the Valuers, Appraiser, Estate Agent and Property Managers Act. Then the rules that goes together with the Act. The difference is that the rules can be amended by the Minister, whereas the Act needs to be amended by Parliament. Yeah, and then of course we're talking about the standards today, the Malaysian Estate Agency Standards, and it's already the 3rd edition. I know some people still using the 1st edition or 2nd edition. Please throw those away. There's a 3rd edition 2020. Please use that only. Yeah, if not, you might be misguided. And of course, the circulars, directives, and guidelines that are issued by the board from time to time. So this is how the Act looks like, just in case you haven't seen it. Get the latest copy because it was amended in 2020. So get the latest copy. This is the old one. I think some of you in 1999, yeah, when I first started, we used this green color one. Then in 2014, it was amended, and 2020 amended, and possibly in the next couple of years, it'll be amended again to reflect the times. So the Malaysia Estate Agency Standards are actually quite reflective of the times that we are in. Okay, so there are many standards. There are altogether 10 standards, but I've highlighted the one I'm going through, which is the Estate Agency Fee Standard number 4. Okay, so what's important about these standards is that they're basically saying that what is your fees, where you can find your scale of fees, which is the 7th schedule, and what can you be and in what situations are you entitled your fees. All right, okay, so that's the gist of it. So I think we all know that our maximum fee is 3%, but of course, if you're selling the plant and equipment that comes to the building itself, we can also charge 10% for those. Okay, anyway, I'll go through that really quickly. But if anybody asks you, where do I find what is your fee? Is it regulated? Is it something fixed? Yeah, it is. It is in the 7th schedule of Rule 48 of Act 242. So it's not that, one of the companies decided that, oh, we want to charge this amount. No, it's actually an industry, best practice 7th schedule of Rule 48. Okay, tenancies also. I think sometimes we shortchange ourselves by only charging 1 month's rent when you can go to 1.25 or 1.5. And the very important part about the fees is this rent review. I see some agents are making regular income every year in, way out just from this word called rent review. This year, I closed the rental. I collected 5,000 fees. Next year, when I renew the 1+1, the +1, the time, what I did, I only called the tenant. Hey, Mr. Tenant, 2 months before expiry, do you want to renew your option, your 1+1? Okay, all right. I just messaged the owner. Oh, dear Mr. Landlord, okay, the tenant want to renew already. So I shall get the paperwork done. And for that, I take 2,500 in the next year. Okay, so that's 1+1. And if he starts a new tenancy after that, the following year, charge back this one, go back to this. And then every year, if it's a 1+1 agreement, every year you have money to make from the same property. I see some agents do that all the time. Wow, amazing. They just keep carrying recurring incomes. Of course, there's additional claims you can claim also, for traveling and all that. But in Malaysia, I think this one is a long way to go. But in Australia, Australia, New Zealand and all that, do you know that marketing costs is 100% borne by the seller? Signboard also, the agent charges the seller, the signboard that you put on his property to sell his property, where he pay you full fees, he pays for marketing and advertising as well. Amazing. One day it'll come, but let's start, not so fast now. Okay, so very important if you look at MIEA standard 4.1.3, whatever it is you want to do, ensure that it is written instruction from the client when, not after, not during, before the commencement of the estate agency assignment. A lot of us make the mistake of during, halfway already, wow, I think I haven't got the appointment letter done. Or after, okay, I got the buyer already, now I want to get the appointment letter. Yep, you can do that, but you run yourself at the risk. what happened? If the owner say, Nama, it's okay, I don't want to appoint you. Since the buyer is so interested, he'll come to me anyway, with or without you. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is very important. Written instruction and before. Why is written instruction important and why no need just verbal? Because verbal, nobody knows. He say, you say, she say, he say, everybody can say something. What is actually the actual instruction? So I think to be very, I mean, in all due fairness to standard number 4, is very well written. Written instruction before the commencement of agency assignment. Of course, on top of Act 242, you also have Contracts Act that protects your agency appointment letter. Okay. Of course, when you come to agency fees, it's always depend on the terms and conditions of the agreement. And if nothing is generally due upon the creation of a binding contract. So what does it mean? That means if let's say our fees are usually due when there is a creation of a binding contract. So what is a binding contract? Like sale and purchase agreement or tenancy agreement. So our fees are usually due on creation of a binding contract. There, I highlighted in green over here. So now the next question I'd like to ask people is, who is your client? Because you always talk about depend on the terms and conditions between the firm and the client, right? We call everybody client, you know. But really,
Right.
in the definition of MIEA, a client means who? Means a person who appoints or engages a firm and is responsible for the payment of the fees. So who is this person? Who is this client?
That's the seller.
Yeah, so in Malaysia, most of the time, it is the seller or the landlord. But don't be surprised that there are situations where the buyer is the one that appoints you and asks you to find a property for him, and he pays you your fees. So, but very rare scenario. It probably only exists to a certain extent in Penang and Johor, to a certain extent only. But it's not exactly this definition. But so our client is the person who appoints us and responsible for the payment of fees. Yeah. So in most cases, it is the seller or the landlord. Okay. Very important to know who your clients are. Okay. So in situations where the sale and purchase, there is two scenarios, tenancy agreement or sale and purchase agreement, what we call conditional and unconditional. That means when it's conditional means there are things that the seller or buyer need to do before this agreement process can continue or can take place, or before the title can be transferred. It could be like, oh, maybe it's a state authority consent. Maybe it is, I don't know, whatever other things that they may put a condition on. So our fees is only due when, when the last of the conditions are met. I know sometimes when you go to your office and then you say that, oh, I want my fees now. I want my commission now. The agreement signed already. I want it now. But wait, when you read the estate agency standards, right, it says when? Unconditional, then it's due upon the signing. If it's conditional, it's due when the last of the conditions are met. So if it takes 6 months to get a state authority consent, then you got to wait until the last of the conditions are met before our fees are actually due. Okay. So some people say, yo, how to wait so long? What to do? Don't panic. So 4.2.5 came up with a new standard when it was amended in 2020. They say here like that, okay, notwithstanding what happened, that means notwithstanding that it's conditional, but if your client say, hey, it's okay lah. You know what? I know I've got all the state authority consent lah, this and that lah. Now I don't care about all that. The moment the sale and purchase agreement signed, you take your fees because the rest is process only. Can. But the client must the client must accept that condition when he appoints you. Okay, I've seen a few, I think I know of one estate agency firm very aggressively, putting this condition inside their appointment letter. Yeah. And of course, there were many of their buyers and sellers that complained to the board. But when we look at the agreement, we're saying that, hey, you actually agreed lah. So if you don't know what you got yourself into, but the letter clearly states that their fees are due upon the signing of sale and purchase agreement. It did not say unconditional or conditional, and they really explicitly signed it. Okay, so yes, you can. And is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. Because why? At the end of the day, the appointment letter is always based on what you and your client agree. If the client agreed to pay you, you take your fees whenever he agrees. Okay, so there is a way out for you, but it must expressly mentioned in the appointment letter. Okay, even in case of Yeah, I know we don't practice this very much. We like to do what? Mutual termination. I seldom practice this one because I always believe that whether you're the client or you're the buyer or you're the tenant, if the moment you sign the agreement to rent, agreement to purchase, by right, you shouldn't be changing your mind. And if you change your mind, is it my fault? Is it the agent's fault that you change your mind? So if it's not my fault, why should I be penalized, refund everything and get nothing? Wasted all that, showing lah, agreement lah, this and that. So normally I don't like to give people an escape clause because everybody is in serious business here. You don't simply make an offer if you're not interested. You don't simply accept an offer that you later want to terminate. So I don't know why there's this thing very common now being practiced, mutual termination. In so many years I practice, I don't think I even one time use this mutual termination. Either you pay me the fees or you pay me half the fees if you abort. Yeah, either one way. Okay, so the client, when he aborts, is an unconditional sale and purchase agreement. That means a sale and purchase agreement is already signed, our fees is due in full. But if, let's say, before the sale and purchase agreement is signed or the tenancy agreement is signed and the deal is aborted, okay, by the client, yeah, so or by the other party, deal aborted by the other party, and then the client will forfeit the earnest deposit and we will be due 50% of our fees. It's also very clearly stated. And even if, let's say, the client abort, that means that the seller himself say, suddenly I don't want to sell already. Yeah, we can also be entitled to 50% of our fees. Yeah, I have also secured this kind of fees before. I mean, it's not a happy situation to make money from. I usually scold normally I'm very upset with my buyers or tenants when this kind of situation happens, but I tell them straightforward. I say, whatever it is, you may be very upset that this deal didn't go through and your money will be forfeited just to let you know. And then usually they say, yeah, it's better that we forfeit now than later get into the transaction and the whole 100% is at stake. So, okay, but I will still collect my fees of 50%. Okay, so then there's a scenario also about exclusive agency, right? Are you due your fees if, let's say, you introduce the buyer, right, during the time when you're exclusive agent, but then the buyer didn't buy, that time, that 3 months, he went and buy 1 month later, or 2 months later, or 3 months later. Are you entitled to your fees or not?
Yeah, I don't know.
Ha! See, so the condition is very important. Reasonable period of time, records of written communication with your client, and the client is aware of your introduction. Okay, so how can your client be aware that you introduced this buyer? Documentation, communication, email, WhatsApp, or whatever way. Then record of or the viewing form. Yeah, a lot of us don't use the viewing form, but the viewing form is one way to prove that. But of course, this other word called reasonable period of time. Yeah, so it cannot be 1 year later, your buyer who viewed the property, and then now he buy, and then you say it's reasonable period of time. So reasonable period of time, the reason why it's written like that is because it depends on the property that you're dealing with and the size. Yeah, the larger the property, maybe it's not residential or something, then the reasonable period of time is actually longer. Yeah, but yes, you are due your fees. That's how powerful exclusive is. You introduce the buyer in the 3 months that you're appointed as an exclusive, right? The guy buys later, 1-2 months later, your exclusive expired already. But that exclusive calls back the client and your entitlement. So very, very powerful. Will it happen for non-exclusive agency? There is no provision in the Malaysian estate agency standards for that. So just to take note. Okay, so anyway, when it expires, you have to get a fresh appointment letter. And of course, all fees and computations all will be, will be part of that. Okay, so then another point to note is it automatic that we can always deduct the earnest deposit received in our client's account as fees? The answer is actually no. You can only deduct or offset with the client's consent. Written consent lagi, not verbal consent. Yeah, because the money in there belongs to the client. You see, again, it's very important you know who your client is, because half of us don't know who it is. When you talk about client, I say client is who? The person who appoints you and responsible for the payment of fees, right? So the money in the client's account belongs to who? Belongs to the buyer? Belongs to the tenant? No, it belongs to the client. And who's the client? the landlord or the vendor. We have to know this very well, so that you know how to make decisions when it comes to happen and say that the tenant say, I want back my earnest deposit. Can or not? Is it your right to return? Is it his money? Or has it now turned to somebody else's money already? Okay, give it some thought, yeah? Okay, and then of course we talk about I'll skip this through conditional, like state exco, FIC last time, state exco, securities commission or whatever lah, if let's say the deals are big, so all that. So fees is always based on total sale consideration, whether it's in cash, company shares, or in kind. Yeah, sometimes people pay by share options. Then we think, hey, how to value this? How to value a property when you sell shares of a company instead of the property itself. Yeah, don't worry. If you all have any deals like that, you'll just come and speak to us. I'll be able to guide you on how to go ahead, how to go about all these, situations of property swap. If let's say the buyer and seller are swapping properties, how do we get paid? So it's not just monetary transactions, yeah. So it comes in many forms lah. Okay, equity swap, joint ventures, whatever the case may be, all that is also part of comes under the sale process lah. So rental again is gross rent. Sometimes we'll say that the 5,000 is the rental stated in the tenancy agreement. Our fees will be based on that 5,000, not 5,000 minus the maintenance and minus the rest of it. Okay, so this one is just some closing bits. Okay, so yes, that's all about the standards from me.
Wow, that's a lot of things.
I hope I didn't confuse everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Before I ask any question, I want to ask everyone on the call. I'm sure you have a lot of questions that just run through your mind. I also put in just now I put in the document, so I'll put it in one more time for those who are new to the chat. You can take a look at the document yourself. This is standard number 4, correct? Yeah, so you can also take a look and just think of your own questions. If you all have questions, prepare your questions to ask to our lovely panel here so that they can try their best to give their advice or thoughts about your questions. Yeah, so in the meantime, I will come and talk to to them. All right, John, I want to ask you first. What were when you listened to all this that Cheng just shared, all those different points? Yeah, what stands out to you?
No, it reminded me of all my sales practices just now. I remember all the things I have to go through and all the conversations I have to have with the clients, and I find myself wondering, asking this question to everyone on the conversation today, on the call today, is how often do you explain some of this stuff to your clients? And how do you do that explanation, right? And I think that is a big missing link to kind of separate the good agents and the not so good agents.
Right.
Because the good agents will know your stuff. The not so good agent will be, I'm still learning the stuff, but it's okay. Now, I use the word good and not so good is because I just want to use it as a comparison, not for judgment, but that would be how the consumer view us, right? Because I think when you go forward to the next standard, which is standard 5, right? Irregardless of how my letter of appointment is written, standard 5 requires us to explain in thorough, in the best way so that the consumer or the clients understand all the standards. So I think there is a lot of opportunity for us to improve ourselves by understanding these standards. A lot of times we got this mindset that, no, we only got problem, then only we think about this. But I feel that we should start learning from the beginning. Like what you should not do, what is your rights, right? So I feel that there is an opportunity for us to relook at how we run our business and how much we know about our business. Because I think if we don't understand the fundamental principles that governs the practices of the business, that is regulated, by the way. I mean, if you're in Indonesia today, there is no regulation there. If you're in Thailand today, there is no regulation there. It's really free for all kind of thing. It's like based on, and ethics is really subjective, right? To compare to everyone. So that's my observation as I just went through a refresher course by Miss Chan. Now we call her Miss Chan. After IPP, she's now Miss Chan. But anyway, so this is really something that we can think about in our agent. I like what Bailey said in Facebook. Rather than a good versus a great agent, not so good, but good and a great agent is really having the depth of understanding, right? What they can do and what they cannot do.
Right. Yeah, I like earlier, I think you were saying also about that it has to be written in the document, right? About when you are paid the fees on a conditional document. But then they were saying sometimes the owner might sign it. They don't even know they sign it. They don't even know that it says that in the document. So it's not much integrity on the side of the agent if they get them to sign all kind of things that they don't even know about. Yeah, it's important to know these things, right? Wow, we have a lot of things popping up in the chat here. Yeah. Okay. Do we want to address this now? I think about the ATP forms that we have in Reapfield. Yeah, on Joanne was asking.
Sorry, I didn't read the.
Okay. Yeah,
the chat, is it?
When was
I think the present forms that we use are based on the Malaysian Estate Agency standard. I mean, if you go to I think the link, right? If you see the MIEA link, right, that file, I think the sample of the forms are there. Yeah, but of course, over time, the forms also can be amended. It's just best practices, but of course, the forms can be amended to reflect the current times or to reflect the different conditions. So sometimes when you feel that the appointment letter, like the standard one, right, doesn't suit your negotiation with the seller, right, you can always come up with another appointment letter. Yeah, so the owner himself can appoint you by not signing your form. Or you can send another type of a form and say that, okay, if I sell this property, I get how much, when you're going to pay me and all that. You can actually simplify the whole thing and also send a communication like that. And then the owner can just say, yeah, I agree. And then he signs back, also can. Because the appointment letter can be either way one. Either the client appoints you, or you let him sign your form, or you give him another, like a term sheet, and he can also appoint you based on that. So there are many ways to get an appointment. The most important is you get it. Yeah, no matter it's, in what form or who appointed, it's very important that the document is written. Because I always, that's why I'm that kind of person who's, I like everything in proper documents and format, because I don't like to leave things to uncertainty. That means today you may remember that, oh yeah, I think I told you to sell my property at 1 million. Then tomorrow you say, no, I didn't agree. I said 1.1. Huh? Wow, then macam mana, like how to address this kind of situation. So to me, I'm very clear. After every meeting also, I sure message the buyer seller one. I say, okay, this is what we discussed. This is what we agreed. Is that all right? Then they'll write, okay. And if they say they don't want to give me appointment letter straightforward, first thing I do is I always say, dear Mr. I give his full name because he's the owner, right? In regards to your property address number 2, Jalan SS1/2 or whatever. So you are going to appoint us as your agent, appoint Refill Properties, let's say HQ Sdn Bhd as your agent, and our fees will be 3% and plus SST, and you'll be due upon signing a sale and purchase. Is that okay? At least I get all my facts there already. Then he said, okay, all right, I take that first. Yeah, if I haven't got the appointment letter signed in writing yet and I want to fast, maybe I do that first. Yeah, but whatever it is, I like to document things, because if anything goes wrong, there's only one thing you can depend on. My dad always say, the faintest of ink is better than the best of memories. Because we cannot remember everything, I guarantee you. I guarantee you. And then after that, we start fighting. Because why? No, that day you say this. No, I didn't say that. No, you did. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I don't like that. So I like to put everything down in writing. So do that in your business, you won't go wrong. If today the owner changes his said from 1.1 million, now I reduced to 1 million. Where do you get that instruction? He told you over the phone, and then straight away you go amend already. Then what happened if he said that? No, I didn't say it. Right. Did I allow you to advertise? No. Why you advertise? Wow, then very angry, report you to the board. Why you took photos of my house without my knowledge, and then you go and post it some more on social media and all that. Did you get my permission? Wow, I tell you, sometimes I mean, of course I've had my fair share over the years so now I'm very careful. If I'm going to post his property on iProperty, I send to him first. I send the link, dear Mr. Owner, this is your property advertisement. Let me know if there's any changes you want to make. Otherwise, it's going live tomorrow. I give him first preference because I don't want him to later see the ad and say, hey, why you go and put this photo? I don't agree. Why you put this price? I don't agree. Wow, then become a big, havoc, things like that. So every step of the way, I feel that communication and documentation is very important in the entire process of fee collection. You don't start worrying today about collecting your fees. The day I meet the seller to start selling the property, that's the day I think about how am I going to collect my fees already. The whole process, I put my thinking cap on in my forms, everything must be in place already.
Wow. Okay, I want to ask, there's a lot of questions in the chat. So just to clarify, because you mentioned about the faintest of ink, right? Then you can even start with a message first if you don't have the document signed. But how, like someone asked, can you even sign the document without the REAP field letterhead, without your agency letterhead? Is that okay? Or you need to have your agency letterhead, like the exclusive document, let's say, appointment for exclusive, it can be any document or?
Okay, you see, under the Act 242, right? An estate agent is okay, let's say for me, I'm an estate agent, right? My E number is E1712. Okay, so I'm an estate agent. But as a registered estate agent, I cannot just go out there and start practicing real estate, I must incorporate a company or I must be part of a firm that is registered with the board in order to carry out the practice. So some people think that, oh, just because I have the real estate agent license, so-called, I can already start. No, there's another condition. You have to be a real estate agent with a license, your E number, plus you must be attached to a real estate company that's registered with the board, or it's your own company, or you work for somebody, is fine. But it has to be done through the firm. Yeah, so an individual cannot be appointed individually to sell a property. Yeah, it's always the firm and the client. But of course, you are the agent that is responsible for that, to do that transaction lah. But the agreement is actually between the firm and the client. Yeah, so that is the relationship.
And I think to add to that, the rent has actually technically speaking, the rent cannot be appointed without a firm. So the rent itself cannot be appointed directly.
Yeah, no, neither can an estate agent or a PEA.
Correct.
All of us are all in the same category.
Firm. So the client actually is dealing with the firm, not with the real estate negotiator, estate agent, or PEA. It's the firm. Right. That's the concept and the high level concept of what we need to understand. So whenever there's a legal situation, it's always the firm answering, right, on behalf of that situation, right? Right. I mean, that's what it means.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, there was actually before that, I want to ask, what kind of situation can a landlord or a seller have the right to not pay you? Is there a time when they would have that right? Like they actually by legally they don't pay you, they don't want to pay you, and then they don't, and then is there a situation that could happen?
The only situation you didn't find him a buyer or a tenant lah. That's the only situation that he need not pay us. But if we have done our part, because our role is to find the buyer or the tenant, right? The moment we have done that and the agreements have been signed, we are due our fees. The only scenario when after the whole thing is done and we don't get paid is, number one, either that, okay lah, there are some clients are just like what John said lah. Even if you tied him down with a 100-page agreement, he'll still find that one way and not to pay you lah. There are those kind of people. Okay, so when you assess your client at the time, we always say lah, assess, especially when we're dealing with project marketing and all that, we say that look at the track record lah and the reputation first before you want to rush and do their project, because you are spending so much money, go and market the project, go do roadshow lah, advertise here and there, and after that the developer say no, find technicality or whatever ways not to pay you. So number one, I think the most important fundamental principle is the person itself. When you meet that client, you comfortable or not? Nowadays I always go on gut. The first time I meet the person, what's the feeling I get from that person? If it's not good vibes, I think I'd rather walk away than to try to pursue something that I feel cannot work. I know some people say that, wow, then you're very choosy. You only work for some developers or some owners and not others. I think I need to play my game well, right? It's no point putting so much effort and not get paid. So the feeling is very important. This client, give me a trustworthy or a cheap kind of feel. Yeah.
Mm.
Then from the handshake also another one. Yeah, I don't handshake with people often, but when I'm not sure, I will handshake with them. Because from a handshake, I also can tell what kind of client possible might give me trouble or not. Yeah, because we get so, we created so much walls, right, John? After so many years of dealing with people, we one look also, we say like, we're not sure, then we have to go and test it out whether this client is okay or not. So I think that's the first. And the second thing is your documentation. If for whatever reason, you never got appointment letter signed.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
You never got appointment letter
Let's
signed.
say you never did
And
that.
then the deal closed already. Then
Yeah.
now you come and claim the fees. The owner can, of course, some honorable owners will just pay, even with or without appointment letter, right? But some will say that, no, I never appointed you. Or I thought you were doing this, as a, Wow, I heard this before one. I thought you were just helping me. Huh? I thought, I didn't know why. So you introduced the buyer. I didn't actually appointed you officially, right? I think that one my wife said, right? I didn't say, right? Wow, I tell you, you can think of 101 reasons you can come out when nothing is written. Oh, that one it wasn't meant for this property. There was one case, the WhatsApp, the agent showed the client the WhatsApp. There, you agreed to pay. No, I didn't. Where is the property address there? Where's the fee amount there?
Yeah.
Right. They go on technicality, Yeah, I pay you. So I give you 1,000 ex gratia. Ang pao lah. Ayo.
Yeah.
Just for your trouble, apparently, or something like that. So I think
Right.
that one is key. Appointment letter, the day you don't get it and you start selling, you already took that risk. But it's a calculated risk. So I never say you cannot, but it's a risk you take. So later when these things happen, you don't be surprised because you entered the business knowing that if you don't get an appointment letter signed, this can happen to you. But business is a risk. So some people say, just do it first. Go ahead and do it. Yeah. Of course, in ideal scenario, we can get appointment letters and all that. But in a non-ideal situation, real world, then I would say try WhatsApp, email, just to put it down in writing. If you cannot get a response, fine, take the calculated risk.
Right.
I will reverse the conversation now in the same question, but I would say things like, hey, what if the client is not happy with my service and don't want to pay me? Right? What if the client say you didn't do a good job, for whatever reasons, and I have had the experience before, and I know that whatever we do, we cannot satisfy and make everyone happy. And there are some people, whatever you do, won't be happy. Right? They are very unhappy people. So there are a lot of unhappy people out there, by the way. So for whatever reason, so I always have this script. I would say, my fees are due. I'm going to deduct it from my client's account based on what we have agreed. Now, if you are not happy with me and you think I did something wrong, the court of law is at your disposal. Tell them their rights, right? And there will be people like that, right? So I don't argue. I think we have to be clear. We are in business to make a profit, to support and help people do our services. As long as our services is done, are rendered, and is done, we are due for our fees. We don't have to make people happy when we want to collect our money. I mean, that's how I look at it personally.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay, a lot of little questions. Oh yeah, you want to say something else?
Actually, and the other thing is, I learned this from one of my developer friends. Very funny. She said, when you want to send a document, right, CC the whole world. She'll say that, she'll create email accounts. Very funny, she'll create email accounts called, let's say it's Cheng legal, at something. So that I like, wow. And then I actually CC to myself and a few other colleagues or whatever. But it's just to give an impression that I'm not the only one and you are not the only one who know about this now. So if you wanna be funny later, right? There's actually there are more parties than just you and me. There is the entire leadership, there is the entire people that you got to deal with. So then the people will take a step back and say oh yeah, maybe this one is a big battle, let's not. So sometimes you see, I always believe that in this world, maybe out of 10 people, right, One or two is like super good. You don't do anything, no appointment letter, zero, so pay you 100%, pay you more also, in fact, sometimes give you bonus. There will always be like that. But out of that 10, there will be one or two, I tell you, no matter what you do, you have, like I said, 100-page contract, still will choose not to pay you one. But the rest of the 6 or 7, they are in the middle one. They can go either way one. And what stops documentation and also influence. And also difficulty to escape from this arrangement. Okay, for example, I like to sign viewing. I like viewing forms to be signed one. That's a practice that I've done for the longest time. And I will make sure the viewing form is signed in front of both parties. I make sure the seller see that my buyer is signing my viewing form. I will purposely make him, then the buyer is pressured because the seller is also standing looking at him whether or not he's going to sign the form. So I pressure all parties and they usually sign the form. So I give an indirect pressure only to all parties that I am very clearly in the picture. You want to age me out also, the document is there, you saw, he saw. If you are one of the 1 or 2 bad ones, then nothing can be done. But if you are the 6 to 7, you'll say, I give it up, just pay. Because why? Too troublesome. Already got everything in place, very, very difficult. Then what I do is photograph also. A lot of you, sometimes you take the photograph of the buyer and the seller meeting. What? It must be you inside. You gotta be in that photo if you want. No, now people like to do all these social media posts, right? So use it to your advantage. Sometimes you can say that, oh no, I'm just but of course some of the buyer sellers say don't show my face, whatever. Okay, we respect that. But it's good to have also photographic evidence now that it's so readily and so easily available.
Okay, I have 3 questions to go in about the appointment.
I'm not reading the chat.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Okay, the first one, small one. If there's 2 owners, do you need to get both owners to sign, or just with the appointment letter, or do you just one owner is enough? What's your thoughts on this?
I give you a scenario: husband and wife, right?
Yeah.
So both of them own a property. So the wife say, okay, I want to sell the property, appoints you as the agent. All right. Then when you found a buyer idea, you go and see. Then the husband say, no, I never agreed to sell. I don't know why my wife, appointed you as an agent anyway. I don't know. So can the deal go through or not?
Have you seen this kind of case before?
We have seen from companies. Okay, so what happened is an appointment letter is signed by one director. Wow, I tell you, it's not complicated. Okay, land transaction. So the buyer, of course, if a company is in Berhad, there are many directors right, and many shareholders, not just one. Most of the time. So what happened was one of the director appointed the firm and said that, okay, we will appoint you to sell this land. Okay, so the guy went ahead, found a buyer, and he came back. The other director said, no, I don't agree. So this agent said, hey, I wasted all my time getting a buyer, and then now you cannot sell because the other director don't agree. Can it happen? Yes.
Wow.
Again, you took a calculated risk because you thought the director was the key decision maker. But he wasn't. He wasn't the only decision maker. So normally, very big transaction, right? You better ensure that your authorized signatory is the right person to sign the appointment letter. Otherwise,
I got a case for residential property. This is a real case. Husband signed, wife didn't sign, and when they signed the SPA, at the point of SPA, someone offered a higher price. They didn't want to sign the SPA, and he told the agent, look. You know what? I only can sell you 50% of my share. Because in my letter of offer and my letter of appointment, I'm the only one signing. My wife didn't sign. So my wife won't sell you the 50% of share. You can buy my property now, and he's not wrong. Technically, he's not wrong, but I mean, arguable, very arguable, right? Using that point to argue, right? So I mean, all we want to do is prevent argument, because argument doesn't help us go anywhere, right? So I think having both parties sign, who is the real owners, please sign off, please meet both of them, please look at them. So I think those things are important. I think in those days, back then, we all used manual forms. You're going to see that person personally, right? But today, with DocuSign and all the technology that we have, having them, there's no excuse that they cannot sign off forms. There's no excuse, really. There's really no excuse. So I think it's better to be safe than sorry.
Correct.
Heard it, you guys. Get all the owners to sign lah. Okay, second one, just to clarify on the process to get appointment letter. between the client and ourselves? Is it best to do it right at the beginning, at the enquiry, before you start any works? Like, you really need to get that appointment letter done? Or what's your thoughts on that? What's the best practice to avoid problems?
To me, business is a risk. I have to say this again, because sometimes people say that, the owner may say that, you find me a buyer first, then I give you the appointment letter. Then you're thinking to yourself, wow, but this is a hot selling property. What should I do? So it's a calculated risk. So if you think that it's not going to cost you a lot and you already have a buyer in your hand, if there's no marketing cost involved or things like that, then you could take a calculated risk and do it first. Right. Because we don't live in an ideal world. If we live in an ideal world, then today we meet the client. The client say, where should I sign? I pay you 3%, right? Pay you upon SBA, right? And then he volunteered, this form was so wrong. Let me give you a better term. We don't live in an ideal world. And I'm not, and I'm a very realistic person, so I believe that I will do my best to follow the process as best as I can. And I believe that a good negotiator should be able to get the appointment letter, because I remembered, there was there's one Redfield agent many years ago in Subang. He gave a talk at one of the MIEA events many years ago. I can't even remember his name, but it was a Chinese guy. I was quite a young guy And then he was known to be always collecting full fees and exclusive.
I know who is that. Yeah, okay.
I don't know who he is. I cannot remember his name, but this probably happened like 15 years ago. So then he made one statement that until today I remembered, he would tell the client, right? And he'll walk away if he cannot get his 3% and exclusive. He'll say one thing, he said, Mr. Owner, if I cannot negotiate my terms with you, how can I negotiate your sale for you? Wow. I was thinking to myself, you are smart, man, this guy. I was thinking, you are absolutely right. You can't even negotiate for yourself, and you want to negotiate for him to close the deal. So that guy stuck to my mind, but I can't remember his name, but I thought that was a very valid statement. If you can't even negotiate for yourself,
good tip.
How can you negotiate for him the sale transaction?
Very good. I like that story. Okay, this is an interesting question. So earlier you mentioned, right, that the client technically appoints the agency to sell. Is that correct? Like in the appointment letter, it's between the client and the agency. Okay. So does that mean the client can only sign one appointment letter with the agency when there are 2 to 3 agents from the same agency who require the seller to sign appointment letter? So what happens when there's multiple agents trying to work with a seller? How does that work?
Maybe John had to answer this. Because it's the practice in the firm, right? Is the practice in your firm? Yeah, in the firm.
Yeah. So I think the challenge in reality, like just what I just say, in reality, there may be some regulatory processes or regulatory concepts that may not be relevant today in our practice. I give an example today, right? The one estate agent to 50 rent, and whatever happens to the rent is at the expense of the estate agent, right? I personally feel that there need to be some policies we look from the board level. I give an example of a case in point with Singapore. Every single agent is a registered agent or a negotiator. They call it real estate salesperson or agent. They are responsible for their own action. They pay for their own indemnity insurance. And whenever there is a complaint, malpractice, or whatsoever of that nature, that particular agent is responsible to stand for what he or she did. I think that is a very fair approach. I think that's the right approach, personally, for me. But I think moving forward today, we have this situation here, like what the question was, which is a very valid, good question, is that how do we then do this? But actually, in actual fact, yes, the client appoints the firm, the client appoints the negotiator. Because of the negotiator, the client appoints the firm. So that is that practicality there. And I think that is necessary documentation to make sure who bring the listings in and all that. Yes, that's already a good one. But I think there's a lot of we look into how our board should be looking at how real estate agents practice that is relevant in today's market, that is compatible with more advanced economies. Because if you want to get advanced into an advanced economy, we must behave in an advanced manner, right? So I feel that that's my take on it. And I don't think technically, legally, it's all must be like that. There is certain room for us to move around and navigate through. And there are certain practices that is already happening, that is being allowed already, right? So this is something that I would answer the question that way.
Okay. My take is in countries like US and Australia and all that, right? They practice what we call exclusive agency only. That means you only appoint the firm, and whoever who took back the exclusive is given the right to, how to say, to be the one to transact the property lah. So far in Malaysia, unfortunately, we don't have. So first thing, exclusive is not widely practiced, and secondly is because the owners, you know, they still think that more agents better than one, and also that we have more agents in Asia, right, than there are in Australia or US, right? We have a lot more. I mean, now our running number for REN is like 60 over 1,000, you know. Of course, the active ones are 30 over 1,000, but still, that's a lot of negotiators in the marketplace. So, but whereas all these other countries, there are way less lah. So when it comes to the firm being appointed, yes, by right, the client only needs to appoint the firm once lah, because based on the MIEA once. However, most firms practice that the owner can appoint multiple agents from the same firm, and whoever who transacts it, then they recognize that particular individual as the one that was responsible for closing the sales. So it's just like project marketing, who is the agent that actually closed the sale, that kind of thing. So they recognize that person. And most companies recognize that as the practice as well. So let's say today, Mariah, John, and me, each of us went to see the same owner, and that same owner appointed 3 of us. Then Mariah got the buyer, and Mariah closes the deal. Of course, Mariah will put the sale in, and it was her buyer, and she did the deal, and she'll get paid lah. But all 3 of us are from the same company, but because Mariah did the deal, the companies will usually recognize the person that transact. Only scenario that would differ is if halfway along the way, John got exclusive. So John will kick me and Mariah out of the equation already lah. Most firms will practice that lah. So, but in the absence of the exclusive, and most firms, I'm saying the practice of most firms, right? They will recognize all 3 appointment letters signed as individuals, but the firm, that's how the firm will look at it lah. But whoever who transacts, then I think that's the person that will be due the commissions. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So everyone signed general.
Not for project marketing. This is only for sub-sale. Project marketing is usually managed by the firm themselves. Yeah.
So all 3 of us should get the general authorization signed first until, okay, very cool.
Yeah, but try not to, how to say this? Like I know that there are some companies, right? Like because they got thousands of agents, right? So the owner can appoint maybe 5 from the agency, because the agency got 10,000 agents, let's say. Okay, then what happens, right? So are they like, if you know that the owner already appointed 1 agent from that, you know, from your firm, do you still want to go and approach the same owner to ask him to appoint you? For what purpose?
Oh,
unless it's a private, like it's a personal friend, and they say, oh, I didn't know you were this firm. Okay, then maybe lah. So it doesn't usually happen unless the owner himself knows both the agent and say that, okay lah, yeah, I want to appoint both Mariah and John lah, as the agent from the same firm. But usually,
what if you think that so there was one comment coming in, what if you believe you can do a better job than the other agents in the company? Because
so then get exclusive. Get
So I
everyone else out.
I'm for competition. I'm for competition. I think it's okay for everyone to compete. I think as a firm owner, I would say that the best man wins, because that is the way we can provide the best services for the clients. I think there is that approach as well. I think what I think is potentially saying that, is there any mala fide purpose or not? If I know that I found out that you're getting this firm, this thing, I purposely go and find the listing and take away from you, that kind of thing. There may be that mala fide approach as well. But I think there is that perspective, but there's the other perspective is I want to compete, right? And competition is within or outside as well. So but compete, I agree with Cheng, get exclusive. Then you see a better man win. Then you do a better job, then you convince them to get exclusive, right? Then you are the better man or the better person to do the work.
Nice. Okay, I have a question about tenancy agreement. Who is the person who should prepare the tenancy agreement? Does it need to be done by a lawyer?
Is this a TPC question?
Sounds like a TPC question.
I just got this question asked to me yesterday by a
Yeah,
a TPC
this
candidate.
TPC
So my
question,
official answer, I say, if it's for TPC, the answer is no. You cannot prepare tenancy agreement.
Correct.
Alright.
Correct.
So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a trick question or not.
Okay. There was a question also earlier. Someone asked, and now I cannot find it out. Oh my gosh. Where is it? Okay. It was asking you to help to understand how do you calculate, how would you calculate the tenancy, the comms for a 5-year tenancy agreement at 10,000 per month? How would you calculate? Yeah, if you,
wait, give me
I
a
guess
second.
because it's more than 1 year or 2 years, right? So how do you calculate when it's like a
But you have
5-year
to
agreement?
look at it here. Okay, wait, let me just share the
Okay.
slide again, yeah, so that they can see it. Okay, so for tenancy, right? So if it's 5 years, up to 5 years, you can charge 1.75. So 1.75 times 10,000.
Whatever.
Don't
10,000.
go on I wouldn't go on a 5-year straight tenancy agreement. It is good to break it up 3 plus 3, that kind of thing, because then if it's anything above 3 years, right, then
Yes.
it becomes a lease. And a lease may not be the best option for your landlord, because then he has registrable interest in the title. And
Correct.
then if you wanted to sell the property, or there are a lot of complications. So my advice is always go 3 plus 3 and all that. But if you go at 3 plus 3, you see, if it's 3 years, right, up to 3 years, 1.25 or 1.5. And then don't forget, after 3 years, collect your balance 50%. Make sure that you slide that into your appointment letter. I'm sure it's already there, or in your agreement to rent, and ensure that you can thereafter collect this extra 50%. So, but I must say, since whoever raised this question probably knows this also, there is a bug in our scale of fees.
A bug.
The bug is here. Exceeding 5 years without option for renewal, exceeding 5 years with option for renewal. I tell you, this is a bug. It should be the other way around. But anyway, I'm not going to go through that because that's a topic for another discussion. Most of us will be up to 3 years or 4 years. That's it.
Right.
Oh, that's another drama.
Right.
Yes,
Wow.
okay.
Okay.
Too much also is a problem.
I think that was a very important question that we need to answer, actually. This one is from Abang Ikwan on Facebook. Why is there a difference standard of practice in terms of commission release for leasehold property? Because there are some companies that will just disperse commission even though their CP has not been fulfilled. Right? Why would that? Why does that happen?
Okay, it is possible that you do not need to do the conditions before you due your fees, but the seller or the landlord must have agreed to it. Then you can claim it upon signing of SPA and signing of tenancy agreement. Can one? That is provided under, wait, I did show that, right?
Correct.
But I'll show it again because it's quite important. Where
is
is
the
it?
a new amendment in 2020?
Yeah, this is a new amendment to the MIEA. Such an agreement, okay, notwithstanding 4.2, which is only due upon unconditional sale and purchase agreement, that the firm and the client may agree to vary the general rule, provided that the client has given prior written consent to agree to such specific terms and conditions on when the estate agency fees are due. When such an agreement is subject to the firm having explained that the client legal implications, consideration precedent are not met, or don't need to be met, and terms of appointment shall be explicitly and clearly stated that despite the completion of the sale is subjected to certain condition, the estate agency fees are due without fulfillment of that stated condition or part thereof. So yes, Abang Ikwan can, but the client must agree to it.
Yeah.
So that means in our
consent,
letter, you can reword certain segments of it to normally what some these firms are, the one that I always receive the complaint last time, right? That goes to the board about the fees. Is they have their standard. They come up with another document. The document clearly states that you will be due your fees upon the signing of the sale and purchase agreement. Very simple. And he has like maybe 3 or 4 points only in that particular addendum, and then the owner signs. So with that, when I look at that, I said, hey, this agent is due his fees upon SPA. So the owner has no right to complain now when he's not refunding it because the sale got terminated. So most of the time, the complaint happens is the deal is aborted, and the owner has to refund the buyer all the monies paid, right? Then most of the time, the owner will say that, no, the balance, the 3%, you take it back from the agent. But no,
Yes.
that one is already agency fee already. So you're supposed to take it back from the seller. Yeah. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think if the agent didn't do the explanation,
Yeah. If it doesn't have it written and signed, then
what the client could potentially do is potentially maybe go after him or her for malpractice stuff, for not explaining enough. But that is a very hard case to prove. I think it's very hard to prove that I didn't explain to you, that I asked you to sign and you didn't read it, unless you have some impact issues that you can't read, whatever. So whatever reasons which potentially may happen, but it's very hard. It's very hard.
Correct.
So
the moment
I
I
think
see
signing
that,
the document is done already. Yeah.
When I see that, I told the board, no case. Then I said, no case. So they will normally write back to the owner and say that we do not find any prima facie case. That's it.
Yeah, but be careful. When a lot of firms who just release money without any of these processes, right? Without any of these processes,
they take the risk.
That doesn't mean they are right. No. Correct. Because I think the comment is there may be other firms that may not follow this process, or there may be other agents that didn't follow this process, and everyone is doing it doesn't make it right.
It's a risk, it's a risk, because if it's aborted, right, and there was no such agreement, then actually we have to cough out. We always say to warm it back your commission and return it to the seller, So that is the challenge. That is the challenge. Yeah.
Right. So overall, I just want to kind of summarize the things I've been hearing so far. So it sounds like it's all about the appointment letters. The appointment letter needs to be carefully gone through. The items need to be clearly stated. And it needs to be explained to the client, basically, right? The client needs to be clear on what they're signing, and you need to have the correct people signing that document, like the actual owners. And you need to protect yourself if there's like you said, if there's the abort the sale or whatever. All these things need to be clearly put in the document, and that's how you can protect yourself. Is there anything I'm missing in terms of what are those main things that we need to look out for to make sure we don't get stuck not getting paid? Is that the main thing? Any other things I'm missing?
Go study. Come to Ignite section. As an agent, go to Ignite Power session number 19.
That's John's session.
You talk about all this stuff. The issue is we get all so caught up focusing on how to convince people to buy and sell, but we can't convince them to pay money. You got a problem, right? And you don't understand your rights, and you don't understand the buyers. Now, not only you have rights, buyer and sellers also have rights. You also have to be fair. Our act says we act on behalf to help to protect the public interest. That's really our core of duty, right? To protect the interest of public. So you need to understand how to be fair as well, how to be equitable as well. So I think you must go and access. 18, 19, I was 18, I think teach one, 19, I teach.
Negotiations with
But the other thing I wanted to add is that don't give up so fast. That means if let's say you don't have everything in place, you don't really have it all there. That means you have a little bit piece and piece, a little bit in email, a little bit in WhatsApp and all that. You can always speak to you can always come to the office and check with us and see whether there's an angle we can take. There was one agent I spoke to in Subang, right? Actually, to me, that situation was very dicey. Very, very dicey, because it wasn't very clear whether you can or cannot. Yeah. But I say, hey, why not just give it a shot? Okay. So I drafted a letter and I said, you sneakishly do this and see what happens. So, and this agent's very, very good. She sneakishly did it. And though she did not get the full fee, right? She's about to get part of it, which actually, if you ask me, it was very dicey. To me, I told her it was 50-50, but let's try anyway. Yeah. And I think she'll be getting paid for that fairly soon. So sometimes don't give up so soon. Try to look at it, and then maybe we can look at it through a different pair of eyes, right? And then maybe we could see certain angles that possibly could age us in. Yeah,
Right.
we try our best. Sometimes we might need lawyers also to help us to age ourselves into the deal, yeah, rather than age ourselves out of the deal. So we must be creative, yeah. When we are in this business, we have to put a lot of creativity inside.
Appreciate that. Okay, our time is definitely running out. Okay, I'm going to go to announcements now, and then we come back for final words from Cheng and Jonathan. Okay, can we have announcement slides? You guys can get them ready. I know my first announcement is going to be about my favorite topic, which is Ignite. Ignite. Guys. This is round 5 of Ignite this year. This round of Ignite is in Reapfield, Puchong. It's a very nice space. We've been there before. If it's honestly not difficult to get there, easy to park, please come for Ignite, okay? Can you show the next slide for me? Show the next slide. Yeah, I want you to understand this course is really going to help you in your business. Module 1, starting tomorrow, okay? It starts tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. in Puchong. Module 1 I know it looks like nothing much, right? It's just spark your career, embrace your job, etc. It's very, very critical. It's such an important module. In module 1, you get to, with the support of everyone around you, start using your command app. Actually put in all of your contacts into a command app, start calling them. We will all be together, making calls, generating leads together. You will also make your own personal agent website together in the class. We do it all together. So if you come for module 1, you will be already using command. You will start to put all of your contacts in command. We will help you. We will be there together. You'll get it done. You will create your agent site. You will be able to have your command app you can send to all your clients out there. I mean, all your sphere of influence. You will get more business. So I want to encourage everyone, even if you're a new agent or you're an old agent, whatever kind of agent you are, come, you will definitely get something from this class. So I really encourage you to come and sign up. The link's there in the chats. Please sign up for this class, and you hear the value you get from Mr. Jonathan Lee and Chen Cheng. This one is in session 18 and 19 in module 4. Very, very powerful as well. You got to come for these sessions, okay? Really, this is our last ditch attempt. I want you guys to sign up. I want to have a lot of people coming for Ignite this round. Okay, guys? All right. Okay. Next slide. All right, so of course we have our client touch points in Circle. You just go to Circle, you search touch points. There's a lot of nice posters that we have created for you that you can send out to your sphere of influence. We use it in Ignite also. You will help you to go on Circle and use it for your own business to increase your business. All right, next one. Yeah, so Flagship Market Center, this is the happenings going on this coming week. So this Tuesday is KW Central Day. You want to learn how to use KW Central, you can come together on Tuesday and submit deals together, ask all the questions you have. Winnie will be there to support you and everyone else as well. And of course, today, the Subang agents and Shah Alam, you can come to Daman Mall and there will be support there for you guys. Also, on 1st of August, also on Tuesday, there's the CDP renewal for negotiator for the rent tags on tenancy agreement. So it's right there in Flagship Market Center. You can attend that as well. So please sign up if you want to come. All right, next slide. In addition, there's also launching a new legal and tax series every first Thursday of the month. So this coming Thursday, August 3rd, there is Understanding Property Transfer Process. So we have someone there for that. So please go for that. This is during Power Hour on Thursdays. And of course, if any of your friends you want to try and introduce them to real estate, you can invite them for the regular Entrepreneur Career Preview Day. So this is on Wednesday, 2nd August at 3 p.m. with Roland. All right, next slide. So we have in Reapfield Puchong, there's also career talks as well. So if you're in Puchong and you want to invite people to come and join real estate with you, it's every Thursday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. They can sign up, and as well. And there's also a coaching program with Ray. You can get a consultation, weekly session, and support and guidance. So please take advantage of all these things we have for you guys. All right, next slide. Yes, okay, so we have all our great tech available to you guys. So 68 ringgit only to get your KW 360 scans, where you get a whole view inside the place. It's very professional to put on your listings, guys, and to send out to your SOI. So please go and check it out and sign up for this. All right, next one. We also have our data labs. It's only with KW, it's 49 ringgit a month only to get market report for whole of Malaysia. Okay, next one. Last one is our KW Activate. So that's from $199 a month. It provides a lot of services, helps you to automate, personalize WhatsApp messages to everyone in your database, but it involves a lot of other services as well. So you can get a 14-day free trial first to check it out. If you want to know more, you can come and contact Winnie or Ken or myself or anyone in KW. Great. Okay, I think that's the last one, right? Let's come back. Okay, I know we're running a little bit late. Can we have some final words from you two about this topic about the standards on getting paid?
Okay, the standards are there to protect us. I think the most important is that sometimes the rules, the act rules, standards, circulars, and all that is actually designed to protect us in our business. Is of course not foolproof and it's not watertight, but it's there. So the good thing, important thing is you must know it, use it when you can. But at the end of the day, business is a risk. So you make that choice, whatever it is. But calculated risk, not buru-buru. It's a calculated risk. But you must know what you can do and what resources are available for you to use to protect you, so that when you do your sale and when you transact the deal, you get paid.
Great, thank you.
It's very interesting, Mariah. Today is the last day of July. 31st of July is the last day of July, and this is the last Winning Monday session in July. So I think as we end this month, as we end this session, my wish and hope for every agent in our system is to really think about how to be a better agent consistently. Think about it this way: how do you be better? And despite bad people around you, good people around you, it is your responsibility and is your prerogative to decide what you want to become. Be a better agent, study, understand better, be fair to others, be equitable to others, treat others well with respect, and likely you will have lesser of all these legal battles. When you don't treat people with respect, sometimes it triggers a lot of things to happen. So my call to everyone here, as I sign off from Winning Mondays on the last day of July, I pray and ask everyone to do better and come to the classes and come to the trainings and do what you can to learn. You have no excuse. I think when some of us started this industry 19 years ago, or maybe during Cheng time, we don't have all this stuff, right? We don't have all these things. So when you don't take advantage of all these things, you are responsible for not doing it or doing it correctly. So that's my advice for you all. And with this, John Lee signing off from Winning Mondays. Take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you really appreciate all the value we bring for you every week. And again, I ask you guys, come for Ignite. There is so much value. It's unbelievable. And it's free to you guys in KW. Yeah, so please sign up. It's definitely worth your time and your effort. You will not be disappointed. All right. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next week. All right. Bye.